All right. Hello, everyone. This is it's 8 p.m. already, and it's time for our fourth session of the Malaysia Blockchain Month. If you guys are live online, please feel free to comment. Just say hi, hi Harith, hi Simon, or tell us how excited you are to be able to programmatically interact with smart contracts. Um, to start off, I will just go through some of the sort of organizer slides. For those of you who joined earlier today, we had three different sessions. So in the morning, we had a bootcamp, part two of an introduction to smart contracts. And then at 2:30, we had Dave, one of our local developers, to go over an introduction to Solidity. And then Nicholas from Etherscan shared about how to use Etherscan APIs. And today, or right now, Simon will be sharing on how to programmatically interact with smart contracts. So if you've ever used like dApps, you know that even if you go to the web, even if you don't go through the website, you are able to interact with, for example, Uniswap. You can use websites like Etherscan or some other websites as well. But this session is how you can use it directly on your own computer without having to rely on any user interface at all. So before I pass the mic to Simon, just again, for those who didn't join earlier, if you have any questions at all, feel free to put it up in the comments, whether on Facebook or YouTube. We will compile the questions and we will get to them at the end of the session. This is a hands-on session where Simon will go through how to do things and you will follow along. And if you miss any certain steps, don't worry because the recording will be there and you'll be able to check that later on. So without further ado, passing it on to Simon.
Hello. Okay, so before I begin, I would like to thank Harith for this opportunity to be here. You know, it's always a pleasure to teach people who are interested in learning, right? So today I'm going to be talking about how to programmatically interact with smart contracts. Sorry. Okay, but before I begin, I would just like to remind those that have not installed Node.js to install Node.js right now, because it takes a while to download this and to install it in your computer. And this is required for the workshop. So if you don't have it installed, please install it, especially if you're using Windows. I know Mac comes with Node already pre-installed, so you don't have to worry about that. So yeah, so if you haven't downloaded, please download it now. And yep. Okay, so let's start with a short introduction of who I am, right? So I've been in the space since 2017. Previously with Kyber Network. Xverse is a local company here. It's basically a fiat on-ramp to exchanges like Binance.sg, CoinHako, and things like that. Then after that, I joined a Star Network, which is a project in the Polkadot ecosystem. I'm currently working as a freelance smart contract auditor on Ethereum. So yeah, so that's a very quick rundown as to what I've been doing so far. And today, what we'll be covering is basically these 3 points, right? So why I think it's important to learn this? What will the workshop be what I'll be actually covering in the workshop, and the prerequisites, which I already covered 2 slides ago, or is it 1 slide ago? Okay, anyway. So yeah, so why is it important to learn this? Okay, so I think the most important reason, right, to learn this is because, you know, the whole idea of blockchain is you be less reliant on centralized authorities or trusted entities, right? And when you use something like the Uniswap website, and if the Uniswap website goes down for whatever reason, like maybe there's too much load or maybe the server's down or anything, then, you know, sometimes you might feel a little bit like upset because you cannot do what you want to do because the website is down. I mean, this happened many times, right? Especially when there's like a peak period, like for example, if like the market's crashing and everybody wants to go and sell something on their dApp, or they want to close some positions, and then all of a sudden the website just doesn't want to work. But if you know how to programmatically interact with the smart contracts, you can actually save yourself the hassle and this, you know, waiting time. You can actually do it yourself. So yeah, so that's the first point. The second point, it's way faster than waiting for UI to reload. So let me just show you a quick example. So like a few months ago, I was helping a friend of mine basically there was this drip, and he was trying to claim some money back from losing some money from a rug pool, and he kept losing out because the UI wasn't updated fast enough, and the bots kept the bots were interacting directly with the smart contracts, right? So every time like the UI, every time the UI was reflected when you tried to approve the transaction and broadcast the transaction, right, it would always fail because the bots would have already taken the drip. So if you can do this programmatically, you can actually access. I mean, you don't have to compete with the people who are just relying on the UI. You know, you're competing on you're kind of like competing with bots, but then you have fewer people to compete with, right? The third point would be I would consider this like a prerequisite to unlocking like a whole new world possibilities, right? For example, once you know how to do the basics, right, you can do a lot of very cool stuff. Like you can do arbitrage script, you can write flash loan bots, you can even send like hidden transactions to hide from like MEV, right? So things like that. So, but at the very core, you need to know how to do at least the basic and like how do you programmatically interact with smart contracts, right? Using whatever tools that's available out there. And the last one, which is the biggest reason, is I think this is what I tell everybody, right? That this is the biggest leverage that anyone in this space can have. And that is really to teach yourself how to do programming, how do you read and write to and from smart contracts, right? So that's I would say a very big point that's a very convincing, not really convincing. I would say that's the biggest reason why I would recommend anyone to learn this lah. Okay, so what would the workshop cover, right? So these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the 5 points that the workshop will be covering. I will be covering. So I'll be first talking about what ABIs are. Then I'll be talking about what Ether.js is. I'll show you a quick example of how to deploy a smart contract, then how to use the ABI to read from the smart contract, and how do you write to the smart contracts using the ABI. Oops. Okay. So now with that out of the way, let me stop sharing this screen and I'll share another screen. Give me a moment. Share screen. Window. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll share window instead. Hold on. File window. Give me one moment. I put this here. And let me share my entire screen now. Okay, I'm just gonna share my entire screen because it's easier to see. I think it's easier to see that way. So what we want to do right now is we will first start by going through what ABIs are. Okay, so let me give you a quick example. Let's go Etherscan. Etherscan, let's just look for, let's say, USDT. Okay, USDT contract. Okay, so I mean, I'm sure most of you have used Etherscan before. And when you use Etherscan, when you're trying to interact with a contract, right? Sometimes when you scroll down, you will see this section called Contract ABI. ABI stands for Application Binary Interface, right? You can think of it as like if you think of smart contracts as like a black box, right? You need to know what functions exist on this black box so you can push the functions, right? So that's where the ABI comes in, right? The ABI is like the blueprint for this smart contract. So with the ABI, you kind of know like what functions exist in the smart contract and what functions you can call and like the return values of some of the functions and things like that. So ABIs are important because when we are trying to interact with a smart contract like the USDT token programmatically, the blockchain doesn't actually store the source code, right? So this source code right now is actually stored on Etherscan's server. That's why if you go onto another block explorer and you try and search USDT, right, it won't show the source code unless they also store the source code somewhere, right? So the source code is not stored on the blockchain either. What's stored on the blockchain is this thing here, which is the contract creation code. And I think there's a bytecode somewhere, which might be the same thing. But okay, anyway, so the ABI is not stored on the blockchain. we need the ABI to interact with the smart contract that's on the blockchain, right? So that's what ABI is and why it's important to use them. Later, I'll show you how to generate the ABIs. So for now, let's go on to the next point, which is on what Ethers.js is. Ethers.js. Oh, so if you've been in the space, right, you would have heard of maybe web3.js or maybe ethers.js or maybe web3.py or whatever. So these are really just libraries, different libraries in different languages to interact with the blockchain. So web3.js was the first one that came out. I used it a very long time ago, but nowadays I'm using ethers.js because I think it's a lot better to use. I feel web3.js is good as well. It's not that bad, but these are just JavaScript libraries, right? If you know Python, for example, you can do web3.py. You see, there's also a Python equivalent for you to interact. They're just libraries to interact with the blockchain, right? So let's look at ethers.js, okay? So let's go into getting started. Okay, you know what? Let's just do the programming exercise while looking at ethers.js at the same time. Okay, so for those who are using Windows, can you help me to open up your command prompt? And for those who are using Mac or Linux, can you help me to open up your terminal? I'll just open both. Oops. I'll open both for you guys to see. Yeah. Hold on, it's lagging. Oops. What's that? Okay. So I'm gonna be coding on both. So you can just follow along. Most of my code will be written. I'm gonna have two copies of the code on two different partitions on my computer. One is for Windows, one is for Mac or Linux. The code that I'll be writing on will be for Windows, but you can just follow the exact same command and it'll work for Mac and Linux as well. Okay. You know, I actually realized that I don't know if I can see comments here. Oh, I can see comments here. Okay, good. Sorry. I was just wondering if I could see comments because I don't know if you guys are following along or if I'm going too fast or I'm going too slow. So yeah, so anyway, what I personally like to do, right, is I like to navigate to somewhere where I can see it, right? I don't like to hide it in some folder and middle of nowhere. So I like to go to desktop. So what I would do is can you guys see? Maybe I should zoom in a little bit. Oh no, that's not how to zoom in. Oops. Is it the plus? I don't know if you guys can see. Oh. Command Shift plus? No, Command plus. Okay, I can zoom in for my terminal. I'm trying to zoom in for command prompt. Let's see. Zoom in command prompt. Control scroll up. I don't know. Will this work? This is too big. Oh, I can make it smaller. Oh, oops. Sorry. Technical difficulty. But anyway, we solved that. Okay, so let's clear. Oops. So what I would do is I would navigate to like somewhere where I can see, right? So I like to go into desktop. You can navigate to any folder you want. So CD just means change directory. And right now I'm gonna be changing directory into my desktop. I'm also gonna do it on my terminal below here. So this is command prompt, and this is a different bash, a different terminal. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna CD into let's see, documents here, GitHub. Okay, see in GitHub here. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do next is I'm going to make a folder. So I don't make directory. I call it workshop. Then I'm gonna CD into workshop. Okay, so make directory workshop, CD workshop. I should just leave it. Yeah. As you can see, the commands are exactly the same, right? Usually the incompatibility issues is when I'm trying to run a command that the incompatibility happens when I try to copy and paste a command that's for Mac or Linux, right, onto something that's for Windows. It usually doesn't work like out of the box. You need to fix some stuff. Okay, so anyway, now that we have this open, what I want to do is I would like to. Okay, I'm assuming all of you have Node installed. So if you do something like Node version, Node V. If you do something like Node V, it'll tell you your Node version. It doesn't matter what version you use. You need NPI and NPM version is like that. Yeah, as long as you have Node and NPM, it's fine. You should be able to do this. See, they're both different versions, but to be honest with you, I don't really care about the Node versions. As long as you have Node and if NPM, it'll work. Okay, so it's clear, and then let's clear. So next, what I want to do is I want to create a brand new JavaScript project, right? I do npm init y. Y is just like as a flag to basically set everything to default, right? I can do npm init y for both of them, and it'll basically create. You see, it created this file called package.json in the folder, right? So if I were to list it out, it will show that I have sorry, I need to list it with the. Okay, I'll do it here. You can see there's a package.json. There's a package.json here as well. See, package.json, package.json. So this is basically a brand new JavaScript project that has nothing in it. Okay, so next what I want to do is I want to install this thing called ethers. So npm id ethers. I is just shortcut for install, D is just shortcut for developer dependency, and ethers is just a package that we're trying to install, which is what I am going to talk about right now, because it's going to take a while to install. Okay, so like I mentioned just now, ethers is a way for you to, oh, that installed quite quickly. Okay, but anyway, ethers is a way for you to interact with the blockchain, right? So if you go to this website, docs.ethers.io, and if you go under like something like let's go getting started, right? You can see, let me just open this a bit bigger. You can see how there are some examples, and basically it'll teach you how to connect to the blockchain. So for example, this one, right? Connecting to Ethereum using MetaMask. So this is not really relevant to us because this requires you to, this is more for that really. It's for like, it's from a UI's point of view. How do you connect to somebody else's MetaMask so that they can do something, right? So what we want to do is we want to look at this part here, connecting to Ethereum using an RPC node, right? So oh yeah, before we do that, we need to create a file first before we can do anything, right? So for those who are on Windows, I need you to help me to type this, type null script.js, exactly like that. Type null NUL with the, I guess you call this crocodile mouth, script.js. And for those who are over here, I make this a bit smaller. It doesn't want to go smaller. Why does it want to go smaller? Right. Oh, I can just scroll. Oops. I just do touch script.js. Okay. So for those who are on Windows, type this, and for those who are on Ubuntu or Linux, type this. Okay. And then if you were to list it out, this is ls. You can see that there's a new file called script.js, and there's a new file, and yeah, basically there's a new file called script.js because I created a brand new file called script.js. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up here. How would I do this? Hold on, let me think. There's not enough space. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna overlay everything, and then we just make do with what we have. Okay, so this is no, never mind. Okay, so this is the file that we just created, script.js. So if you basically, what I want you to do is just open up script.js using like some text editor. You know, when you have like a Notepad, or you have like VS Code, or you have Atom, you have Sublime, anything, any kind of text editor. If you don't have any text editor, normally you have Notepad. Is it Notepad? The one on Windows, yeah, Notepad, I think. And on Mac, there is also a default text, a default software that lets you open like any kinds of file. Let me check. One moment. MacBook text editor. Text edit. Yeah, I think on MacBook it's called text edit. Yeah, and then on Windows it's called a Notepad. Yeah. Okay, so just open it up and open your file open your file in that software. That's the reason why I asked to. That's the reason why I asked you to create the folder in a place where you can access, so it's easier to do this. Okay, wait, what I need to do next? Okay, so now you have this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to this one. Okay, so wait, before we begin, we need to do this first. So what we first need to do is we need to import ethers.js, right? So I will just copy one of these, and I'm just gonna paste it in my script here. Okay, so how I know ethers.js is installed, right, is because just now when I ran the command, I don't know if I have it here. When I ran the command npm id ethers, this basically added 44 packages in X amount of seconds, and where these packages are added, right, is in this thing called node modules. You see here, these are basically the files. You see there's an ethers.project, right? So this is how JavaScript works, right? When you want to install a library or a package that's like that you want to use for your software, when you do npm install or you do yarn install, whatever, it'll install into this folder called node modules. So yeah, so copy and paste this cons with the curly brace ethers require, and then the double quotation ethers, right? So to actually check that it's working or that there's actually something there, I would do console.log ethers. Okay. So right now, you see, I'm gonna just put this on this side because you can still see it on this side. Oh wait. Let's go here because you can also see. I think you can also see it here. I gotta minimize it a little bit. Yeah. Okay. I don't. Okay. I think maybe I'll close this because everything else after this is more or less the same. I wanna show you that it's actually printing something. So after you do this, after you add this line onto script.js, right, what you want to do is you want to do node script. So this is basically me running the file. As you can see, if it's printing something out like that, then it is you know that it's working. Like it's pulling the correct files from node.modules into this script.js file. Okay, so what I want to do next is to continue with the ethers.js. Okay, so that's the importing ethers.js part. The next thing that we want to do is we want to connect to an Ethereum Rpc node. So if you read this, right, they'll talk about different Rpc providers, like you got Infura, you have like Alchemy and things like that. So for this example, or for today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create an account on Infura, which I already logged in, and what I want you to help me to do is to go and get yourself an API key from Infura. So if you have not, what I need to do is to go onto infura.io. I need to create an account, and then with the account, once you can log in, you can get this API key that's over here. When you go into Ethereum, you can create a new project, and when you click create a new project, you just give it a name, blah blah blah. It'll give you the API key over here. Oops, I copied too many times. Okay, what we want is the Robson key. Okay, I'll give you guys like 5 minutes. Is 5 minutes enough? Okay, I think 5 minutes should be enough to create an Infura account and to get yourself an API key. Okay, maybe 2 minutes. I think 5 minutes might be too much. Okay, never mind, 5 minutes. Okay, so for those who already have an API key, we can just come in here and we can just type it out. We'll just leave it here for now. Okay, we'll just wait for everyone else so that they also have their API key. Oh, you know what? I think for those who are in the chat, if you don't want, you can actually use my API key as well. I think it's okay, should be okay to, I can't share it here. I can't type it. Never mind. It's hard for you to type this out. There's gonna be typos. So
are you able to copy and paste in the StreamYard, post a comment?
I can. Oh yeah, sorry. Okay, that's so much better. Okay, y'all can use this key. If this key doesn't work, or if you think if I have a separate key here, you You use the second key as well. This one, I think it's a different one. I don't know if you guys can see though. Can you guys see?
Have you pasted it in the post comment?
I saw it in private chat. It's not
Okay,
private chat.
maybe it doesn't show up here. Okay, on your screen there should be like a chat bar panel on the right side, and you
Yep.
can post comment and click chat.
Yep.
Okay, if
But
it doesn't work,
I see private chat and I pasted it there. I see comments, but I cannot paste anything in comments.
okay, might not work. If you want, you can send it to me via something like Telegram, and I can share it with
Okay.
with others.
Okay, that would be very helpful. Thank you. Yeah.
There's two
Yeah.
keys, right?
You can use either one of them. I'm only worried that if everybody uses one, then there'll be you hit like the rate limit. So yeah, so just pick one of two. Hopefully there's a like an even distribution. Yeah, help me to pick one of these two, and basically I want you to do something like that. So what I want you to do is to create a new variable called URL. You can just type constant. CONST stands for constant. It's short for constant. Constant URL, and you just paste the entire thing in. But remember to use don't forget to use the double quotation marks, because that's how you indicate a string. I'm not going to talk about string because that's out of the scope of this workshop. Okay, so I'm going to assume you guys have this ready. So what I want to do next is, wait, let me find it. I keep losing this screen. Is it here? Oh, it's here. Yes. Okay. Wait, let me see. Can I do it side by side? I can do it side by side. Awesome. Okay. So what I want to do, right, is it says here that for me to connect to the RPC node, I need to use this thing known as a provider. So you see, it says I need a connection to the Ethereum network called a provider, and I also need something that can sign transactions, which is a signer. We will talk about the signer later. For now, let's just focus on the provider. Okay, so what I want to do is, wait, I'm opening the wrong thing. Okay. Oh yeah, before I do that, I think what I need to do is this one. I need to create a function called syn function.main, and then we just do it like that. So you can just copy everything that I'm doing right now. So basically, what's happening here is I'm creating a function. I'm creating an asynchronous function called main, and I'm just calling it, because eventually there'll be parts of the code where I need to call it asynchronously, and that's why I need it to be called in this particular function called main, right? So you can delete this console.log, you can copy and paste this constant.url into here. Oh, I copied the wrong one. I copied the right one. Oh, I'm using the wrong one. Sorry. This is mainnet, not Infura. Oh no, I'm using mainnet. Okay, guys, I need you guys to help me to change something, right? Whatever RPC endpoint that you're using, I need you to help me to change it to Robston and not mainnet. They're the same, yeah. So just change the word mainnet to Robston. Because I don't want to be tested. I don't want to be doing this on mainnet. Let me make this smaller. Let me make this bigger. Oh, it's too big. Okay. So I need you guys to help me to change mainnet to Robston. Robston. Okay. And then what I want to do is I want to create a new provider. So we just copy this code here, JSON RPC provider, and paste it in the function called main. Instead of using JSON RPC provider, what I want to do is I want to use this thing called a WebSocket provider. As you can see, there's a because I'm using SWSS stands for WebSocket. The long story short, WebSockets, you create a connection once and you maintain that connection. It helps you to basically interact with the blockchain a little bit faster than having to reinstantiate the connection to the blockchain every time. Yeah, but okay, anyway, if you don't understand that, it's fine, doesn't matter. Oh, it's not Web3 provider, it's WebSocket provider. And then I want you to paste the URL into here. Okay, and let's just paste it down here, and I want to clear this. Okay, so once we have this, just to kind of like show that it's also working, right? Let's just do console.log. You don't have to do this, I'll just show it to you, because let's just do process.x process.a.exit 0. Okay, so as you can see, if I run the script again, right, you see it's printing out something completely different. You see, this is my WebSocket. This is the path of my WebSocket here. And yeah, basically what I'm trying to do is I'm printing out whatever the provider object is right here, right? So if you run clear, if you run node script.js, it should show you this thing. If you see this, you're on the right page. If you're on the right track, basically.
Quick note, Simon.
Yep.
It's 8:31. Just a time check.
Can. Okay, thank you. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to see if it's actually working, right? I want to see that I can actually query the blockchain, right? So what I do is, you see there's an example over here querying the blockchain. It's a very simple example. Basically, you just copy and paste this. Await provider will get block number. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do await provider will get block number. Yeah, and I want to save it. Let's just do let block number equals to await provider get block number. And then once I have this, I will just print it out lah. Console log block number, right? Oh, I need the process.exit, because if you don't have process.exit, you need to know how to manually control. You need to exit the program yourself. I know that I have two process.exit. Let me delete this one first. So you see, if I run this again, oh, I need to show you Robston the scan. I got to show you that it matches the block number. See, it's the same block number, right? So with this simple script, very simple script, you already programmatically interact with the blockchain, right? But what you want to do is, what I suppose what people want to actually learn is how to do more complex stuff than just, querying the block number, querying balances and things like that. Okay, so before I continue, what I need all of you to do, and I need Harith to help me with this, is I need you to get some Robston ETH. Not Robston ETH, the scan Robston ETH. So there's when you Google Robston ETH faucet, sorry. There are a few different faucets. Just make sure not to spam it, because once you spam it, your IP will be blocked for like 24 hours. So just click on it one time, any of them, doesn't matter. You just enter your testnet address. You just click on it one time. Don't click on it many times. Request one time, or just enter here. You can just do one of the three. As long as you have some funds in your, address, it'll be fine. So as you can see over here, I have some funds in mine. I already pre-funded it with some ETH. If you guys are having issues with the faucet, please leave your address in the comments, and I can send some ETH to you, because I have some spare over here. So maybe we spend like 2 minutes trying to get a few Robston ETH, and then we'll continue with the workshop. Okay, let's see. Balance big number. Just remember not to spam it. Once you spam it, it will block your IP for 24 hours, and then it'll be a bit problematic. I like the dimensions one because it gives you 5 Robston ETH, and yeah, the rest are quite stingy with it. Try splitting up the links. Okay. So once you've requested, it'll take some time for the Robston ETH to come in. So while that is going on, we will continue with the workshop. So as you can see over here, what this guy did was he tried to get balance. He tried to get the account balance of this particular address. We also can do that. But before we do that, we need to create a, remember over here I mentioned that there's a thing called a signer. So if you open up signer, it's just a way for you to sign transactions with programmatically, right? And then as you see over here, it says that it is abstract and cannot be instantiated. You need to use one of these other classes. So let's just make a wallet. Okay, so we click on wallet, and it says here, this is how you create a new wallet. So you create a new wallet instance for private key and optionally connected provider, right? So, oops. Right, so what I want to do is, let me close this too. What I want to do is I'm going to create a wallet. Do not, so I'm going to expose my private key here, which is a test private key. There's no value on this account, but I highly recommend that you do not do anything like this because this will compromise all your funds. There's no funds in this, so you can copy and paste it if you want. There's nothing in it. But the point I'm trying to say is do not expose your private keys like this. I'm just doing this because this is a workshop. So yeah, so once we have the private key, we want to create a wallet, right? So we do let wallet equals to new. We'll just copy this, right? New ethers.wallet. New ethers. We do a capital W, capital W. Don't use a small w, because if it's a small w, it's gonna give an error. New ethers wallet, new ethers.wallet with private keys in the bracket. Okay, and I believe you can also connect your provider here at the same time. Yeah, I think that'll work. Okay, so now with this, what we can do is we can do this console.log wallet address. This will show me my address. Let me also do. I'm worried that if you guys follow along, you might forget to do this. So let's just do process.exit 0. When it's oh crap, I forgot to do this. There we go. So this is my address, and this matches the address that I have over here. 0x4d364326 blah blah blah. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to get the balance. I'm just gonna follow this tutorial and get the balance of this address. So I'm gonna just copy and paste this. Okay, we'll just do let balance equals to oops. And we not want this is not wrong address, right? We want to do wallet.address. Okay, then we do console log. I'm going to show you two different console logs because I want to show you the difference between the two. Console.log, ethers.utils.format, oops, ether balance. So as you can see, I use this keyword here, await. So for me to, because this is a, if you look at how do I do this? So the reason why I needed to do this await is because it takes time for my software to query, or my code, my script to query the blockchain, right? And basically it's not synchronous, right? So by putting an await here, I'm trying to force it to be synchronous. So that means the rest of my code will not run until this part of the code is run. Okay, so and you can only write the await keyword if in an asynchronous function, which is the reason why I created this asynchronous main function. Right. So now if I'm gonna print this out again, I'm gonna show you the difference between these two. Okay, so I forgot the process to exit. If you're stuck here, press Control C to exit. So if you look over here, you see it matches my ETH balance, right? 4.9982. You notice that when I tried to print the balance, by itself, it shows big number. And the reason for that is because in Ethereum, we use very high precision, right? We use values of like 256 bits, right? And JavaScript, native JavaScript cannot represent that many, that they cannot represent numbers to that much precision, right? So once you exceed like 53 bits, the numbers will start truncating or doing something really weird. So how they work around that is they have this library called like a big number JS library. There's a few of them, right? And this is a way for them to represent numbers that are bigger than 256 bits. Numbers that are bigger than 53 bits. Usually, basically, they store it as a string, or they do some programming magic, and I don't know what they do, but basically they are able to store numbers that are bigger than 53 bits, which is the standard or the maximum value that a JavaScript number can have, right? Yeah, so that's a big number. A lot of the time when you're querying, they always give big number, regardless of which library you use, whether you use ethers.js, whether you use web3.js, they always give, usually they return you a big number. So you always need to somehow format it back to something that's more readable. Okay. So let's just okay, I'm gonna assume that you guys already have some if. So what I want to do is we want to okay, I'm gonna speed up a little bit because I think we're running out of time. I'm gonna go on to Remix. I'm gonna steal a contract from Remix. I'm gonna edit, create a new file, and we call it storage.so. That's the contract that I was gonna steal. Okay, where's my storage.so? Storage.so is here. Oh, what happened here? Rubbish. Okay, I'm gonna paste it in here. So for those who are on Windows, open your folder, create a new file called storage.so. .so is a Solidity file, and then just paste. Then go on to Remix. Oh, I gotta give you this link too. You can just search remix.ethereum.org. I'll send this to Harith, and then it should come with some. It should come with some contracts by default. It has a storage, ballot, and owner contracts. You can just steal them. Just take one of it. I just took the storage contract. I just copy and pasted the entire thing, and I just pasted it in. Okay. So now what we want to do, at least what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to deploy the blockchain, deploy this contract. Or what I want to do is I want to deploy this contract to the blockchain, right? But the contract alone is not enough. So what I actually need is I need two things, right? I need the ABI JSON file that I was talking about earlier today, and I need something known as a bytecode. Okay, so I'm going to be using this library here to help me, npx soc. So the library is called soc, which is a Solidity compiler, and npx is a way to use a library without actually installing the entire library. So as you can see, it tells me that these are like some of the flags that I can use to generate the files. This is my output directory. This is the base path and things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. So npx soc ABI bin base path. I know it's going to be a bit hard to follow this. Sorry, I don't really have enough time, but I want to try and show you this before the time runs out. So what I'm doing here right now is I'm trying to compile two different files, right? I'm trying to compile an ABI file. I'm trying to compile the Solidity contracts, and I'm going to extract the ABI file, and I'm trying to extract the bin file. As you can see over here, this is the folder that my files were in, right? So as you can see, there's an ABI file here, there's a bin file here. So the bin is the bytecode, the ABI is the ABI file. So I'm going to rename this. We call this ABI.json. The bin, we can just call it, I don't know, we can just call it bytecode or whatever. Let me format this to be a bit more readable. Yeah, so as you can see, if you look at my storage, right? You look at my contract, right? I have two functions. I have a store function and I have a retrieve function, right? If you look at my ABI, I also have a store function and a retrieve function, right? And let me close this. And it matches, right? Like for example, let me show you. Let me just put this down here. Storage, right? So store, it takes a number. You see input, right? Input a uint256 number. uint256 name of the variable is called number. Type is also called uint256, and then there's also a retrieve, right? Retrieve doesn't take in any inputs, but it returns an output of uint256. So what I want to do is I want to import this. I want to import this ABI. So I do it on top, constant ABI equals to require ABI.json, and then the bytecode, I'm just gonna paste it in bytecode because it'd be too long for me to just to teach you how to import it the correct way. So I'm copying and pasting it in here. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to deploy a contract. Let me see. So a pro tip, right? I don't remember a lot of this stuff. I usually have to refer to the documentation a lot, but the documentation is really very good. So like, for example, if I want to look for deploying of contract, I go under application programming interface, I go contract interactions, and I mean, I could search, I guess, but I really knew where it was, so I'm just going here. So really, to deploy a contract, what you need to do is you need to create something known as a contract factory. Okay, so a contract factory is basically an object that will help you to deploy the smart contract, right? So we can again, we can copy this. I'm just gonna do a bit more here. Console.log creating factory, because it helps me to see some stuff. We let factory equals to paste it in new contract factory. We do ABI, we do bytecode, and then we do wallets. I need to add the wallet here. As you see, let me just show you this to you again. Factory. As you can see over here, you see my mouse. The first parameter is a contract interface. The interface is the ABI, right? The second is the bytecode, and then there's like this question mark signer, which is this, right? Basically, this is optional, right? So what you see here is basically what you see here, which is the reason why I do ABI, bytecode, and wallet. Okay. Then next, what we want to do is we want to deploy an instance of the contract, right? Console.log. Let me just deploy contract. What we're doing right now is we're trying to deploy the storage contract. So we do let contract equals, okay, over here. Let me show you. Yeah, there's an example. There's even an example here, right? So if you don't really remember, there's an example here. So you see, you create a new factory, create a new contract here. You do factory.deploy. This is the parameters or arguments to pass into the factory. If you look at the contract, there is no. You don't really need to pass any arguments into the contract to deploy the contract, basically. So I'm going to do await factory.deploy, exactly the same thing, and that's it. And then I'm gonna we need to do this as well, await.contract.deploy transactions, because the reason why we need to do this let transaction equals contract.deploy transactions is because we're trying to retrieve the transaction that's used to deploy this contract, and we're trying to await it. You see over here, contract.deploy transaction. I'm doing exactly the same thing as what the documentation is teaching, right? And then it's telling me to wait it, right? Waits until the transaction is mined and then do something, right? So that's what I'm trying to do here. So I do tx.wait. By default, this I think waits for 1 block by default. Okay, and then when we get a result, right? Basically, when I get notified that the block has been mined, I want to do this. This is a JavaScript thing. I won't explain it. You just have to just copy it, and then but basically what happens, what this is saying, right, is once this is done, then do whatever is in here. Okay, that's why it's called then. I mean, they try to make it as readable as possible. So I'm going to do this transaction hash, and then I'm going to do receipt. I think maybe 1 hour was not enough for this. Process.exit 0. Okay, so I do a quick summary of what I just did. I created a factory using the ABI and the bytecode. I used the factory to create a contract. There's nothing passed into here because there's no arguments required by the contract to deploy the contract. There's no arguments required to deploy the contract, which is why there's nothing passed into here. I'm getting the transaction that is used to deploy the contract, and then I'm waiting for that transaction to be mined. Once the transaction is mined, then I just want to print out the transaction hash, which is the same as this actually. But you see. Okay, so let me just do this. Oh crap. Node script. It'll be a bit more readable. See, it's creating a factory, it's deploying a contract. And then let me just open this up on Etherscan for you to see. Oh, see, there we go. See, it's already deployed a contract address here, right? So it's not going to show up here. Oh, it did. That's pretty fast. Okay, 16 seconds ago. As you can see, I just deployed a contract programmatically using ethers.js. So if I open up transaction hash is also here, I think. Transaction hash there. Same transaction hash as this one. You see, it ends with a 9650, starts with a 947, blah, blah, blah. Contract address is the same as well. So this is the contract that I just deployed. Oh, it's not verified. It's okay. I'll verify it later. Okay. So now what I want to do is so what I noticed, right, is not when you're trying to interact with something that's really existing on the blockchain. Normally, you don't deploy a contract first, right? What you want to do is you want to get an existing address and deploy it. So what the next thing I'm going to show you is how do you get an instance of an already deployed contract like this contract, and how do you access it, right? So let me just comment out this too, because I don't need this. I don't want to deploy this to again. And let me just uncomment this. So that address, which is the contract address, let me just check 96FB. Okay, that is correct. And then so this is how you would get an instance of a contract that has already been deployed, right? Contract equals to very similar to what we have over here, new.contract. No, sorry. This is to create a factory. This is to get an instance of the contract. So if you look over here, contract, over here, see, new ethers contract address ABI signer or provider. So this is what I'm actually doing, right? So I'm just gonna copy paste this. I don't need this. Oh wait, you're actually correct. Address ABI and wallet. That's my signer. Okay. So what I want to do right now is I want to show you that I can actually retrieve some value from the contract, retrieve value in contract. Okay, and then we do let val equals to. So this is how you would interact with the contract. So if you look over here, contract, you go to methods, you go to read only methods. There's a contract and method name, right? This is the thing that we're going to be calling. These are additional information. You don't really need to know about this. Okay, so if you look at the smart contract that I deployed, right, storage, there's a store function and there's a retrieve function. I'm going to be calling the retrieve function. Okay, so value await contract dot retrieve. And you remember just I mentioned, right, that it's always going to give me a big number, right? So if I do console.log.val, and I do console.log val, I might just print it to string because it's easier to see instead of converting it. You see the value that's actually on the blockchain. So let me just show you now. Wait, am I right? Yeah, I'm right. Right now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to query the blockchain. You see, it's retrieving value in the contract. The big number, this is 0, and it's showing me a number of 0, which is correct because when you deploy a brand new contract like this, this value, right, the number that's in the blockchain, it defaults to 0, right? So this matches that. So what we want to do right now is we want to try and update this value, right? So let's just do it. Console.log, setting value in contract. Okay, so let's tx. Remember, we want to do something similar here, right? Over here it says this is read-only methods, but if you look at the next one, write-only methods, it's more or less the same structure. You do contract.method name, and remember our method name was store, right? So we do await contract.store. Let's just store 42. Okay, 42 because it's the answer to everything. So very similar to how we did what we did over here. We have to wait, right? When you broadcast this transaction isn't actually mined yet. It's just broadcasted to the memory pool. So you want to do tx.wait, and then you want to, you can put a number in here, but I'm just gonna leave it blank because this is the number of blocks you want to wait. Then I'm gonna do like just now, like then, let's see, async receipt. I can't see. There's too many things. Okay, and then let me just print it out again. Console.log transaction hash. And then a receipt. And then what I want to do is I want to retrieve the value in the contract again. So I'm going to just copy and paste this. I see what I'm doing right now, right, is I am so this is my address. Okay, this is my address. I'm creating a contract. I'm getting an existing instance of this contract by passing the address, passing in the correct ABI, Remember, ABI is like the blueprints to this black box, right? There's no Ethereum blockchain doesn't store the source code of these smart contracts. So you need to tell the blockchain what are you trying to do with the smart contract. So that's where the ABI comes in. I need the wallet so that I can sign transactions. So first thing I did here was I retrieved the value in the contract. As you can see, the value that I retrieved was 0, which is what I was expecting because there's no value in the blockchain. I mean, there's no value over here, right? And then I printed out, this is the big number, and then this is just a string. Okay, then next I'm trying to set a value in the contract. So here's me trying to set a value to 42. Again, I'm waiting for 1 block to be mined. Normally you would wait for like, I don't know, 6 blocks, is it? I can't remember the correct number of confirmations that you need to wait, but you need to wait for some number of blocks. Okay, let me just look it up. Ethereum confirmations, 12. Is it 12? Yeah, I think maybe it's 12. Yeah, so usually you wait for 12 confirmations to be extremely safe, but for now we just wait 1. And then when that happens, in this then function, I want to print out the transaction hash, and then I want to retrieve the value in the contract again, right? So let me just show you. Clear. Okay, so over here you see I'm retrieving the value again. Value is 0, right? Sorry. Okay, you see, setting value in contract. So this is the transaction that I mine, and this when I retrieve the value again, it's 42, right? So I want to show you the value here, but it's not verified, which is, oh wait, it is verified. No, it's not verified. Okay, hold on. Let me try and verify it now. I think it's the latest one. I hope. Give me a moment. Let me see if I can verify it now. I just want to show you that it is actually what I say it is on Etherscan. Okay, no, let me open this up. So yeah, let me show you this. Come on, please verify correctly. Verifying takes a bit of time. Oh, nice, it verified correctly. See, it's verified. The codes here, read contract. Remember, I only have 1 value. I have 1 number in read contract. Number retrieve. You see, retrieve is 42. Retrieve returns the value numbers here. That's what I set just now. It's 42, right? So as you can see, transactions. This was a create storage transaction. This is storing the storage transaction. So yeah, so that's how you would programmatically read and write from the smart contract. I'm sorry that this workshop is super rushed. I wasn't expecting time to pass this quickly. But anyway, I actually have it. I have all the code over here. ETHKL workshop. So if you guys want to look through the slides again or go through the video again, all the source codes in here. It's fully commented. Everything you need to know. Yeah, just in case you want to go through it again. And yeah. Wait.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, there's only 2 minutes left. Do we want to have questions too?
I mean, we're not in a super rush. It's not like we have to immediately end it at 9 p.m. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to put a comment in the platform that you're watching this on, and we can bring this up to Simon.
Yeah.
And I think similar to what we did with the previous sessions today, I will also share a link to the Telegram group where if you have any further issues as you're doing this or you're watching the recording later, join the Telegram group and ask the question there, and we'll get Simon to get Simon's attention to deal with it. I'm gonna post that here.
Wait. Questions? What's the difference between Web3.js and Ethers.js? I think it's mostly just syntax. They try to be very similar. I know Web3.js used to be it came out first, but the code the code that's used in the library was not very well written, if I remember correctly. So it wasn't very efficient, right? And then and there was this one guy who decided to create a like a, I don't know to call it a fork of Web3, or I think he built it from scratch. But he created a library called ethers.js. It took a while for people to start using it because initially Web3.js had a lot more functionality and features. But now I think the things that you can do on either of them are more or less very similar. Like you won't go wrong with either of them basically. Yeah. So personally, I like ethers.js because I think ethers.js is the documentation is a lot easier to read than web3.js. But sometimes if you don't, if what you're trying to do cannot be done with ethers.js, you can always use web3.js. You might find, because web3.js also has code examples, which are also, I mean, they're quite decent. It's not like as if they're bad or anything, right? See over here, they have code examples here as well, so you can just copy and paste the code and see how it works. Like see, there's methods, my method.call, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if nothing else, we can end this session for now. I've put the link to the Telegram group. So if you have any further questions you want to ask later on, just feel free to ping your question in there. And Simon's also kindly shared the GitHub link to see all the documents related to this workshop.
Yeah. Anyway, if you guys have any questions, I'll be in the Telegram group. You just ask me the questions there. I'll be glad to answer any questions. If you guys need help, if you want to do this, if you want to try and, I don't know, query your token balances on the blockchain or anything, you can always ping me. I can help you with that. I can teach you how to do it. So yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, Simon, for your time. I'm gonna quickly share my screen just to show the stuff for tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. So this was the sharing on programmatically interacting with smart contracts by Simon. Tomorrow, if you can join in at 2:30 p.m., there will be a bootcamp on Binance Smart Chain done by another developer from the local community, Sri Hari. And there will be another session at 4 p.m. on how to use the BSC scan APIs. So if you're interested, make sure to sign up for the Malaysia Blockchain Month if you haven't already, where you will get the links to see the two sessions. And before we close off for tonight, just a quick mention to the partners and sponsors for Malaysia Blockchain Month. It's 6 weeks of educational content brought to you by Access Blockchain Association. And the partners are Bitcoin Malaysia, Blocklime, TopChain, ETHKL, Grenade App Media, DeFi Singapore, and Imperium Universe. So yeah, thanks a lot everyone for your time. And again, thank you so much, Simon, for sharing.
No problem. Thanks everybody for coming to this workshop, and have a good evening.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.